You're watching that betting show. It's time to watch what you bet. The Celtics, Teddy, looking to bounce back at home versus the Trailblazers. Taking a look at some updated lines right here. Opened up 2.5, 3.5, depending on where you were shopping at. Now sitting at 2.5. Over under of 226 to 226.5 across the board. One of those bounce back games. You didn't play well. The Trailblazers playing well. Heck, Teddy, I seen it myself on Saturday, blowing out the Sixers in the second half. Celtics in a little bit of trouble, but still favored at home. 19-12 against the spread at home for Boston, but 3-6 against the spread, Teddy, on back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean, what happened last night for Boston is a concern. And what happened in that second quarter, if you watched what Toronto went on, a 16-0 run or an 18-0 run, and Stevens wouldn't call timeout. He's like, you guys figure it out. And they didn't. And then there was another possession, wasted possession on offense, buck at the other end. Stevens going to call a timeout? No, you guys figure it out. And another bad possession on offense, and another bucket on the other end. Stevens going to call a timeout? No. That's a worrisome concern. And I know it is the ultimate bounce back spot off a really embarrassing loss, off an 0-3 after the All-Star break trek, where they haven't done anything right, and the bad game in Chicago, and the 1-point loss at Milwaukee. And this is supposed to be, their step-up spot in theory, but it's also the second night of back-to-backs. They haven't been particularly good. And it is a Blazers team playing really well right now. Portland, well, they got my money on Monday. I thought it was a mother of all flat spots, and it was. The Blazers are up 3. There's 5 minutes to go. They're laying 10 in Cleveland. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, they've been hitting threes all night, but down the stretch, McCollum's draining threes. Lillard is draining threes. 4 back-to-back threes from the 5-minute mark to like the 3-minute mark, and all of a sudden a 3-point game turned into an 18-point game, and it was ball game Blazers. CJ McCollum, we've been through a lot. We've been in some great wins and some terrible losses, so you know how to win games down the stretch. We know what we need to do on the offensive and defensive end to give us a chance. Also worth noting, definitely worth noting this one little fact. Kyrie Irving's supposed to play tonight. The Celtics are 6-0 their last 6 without Kyrie in the lineup. 0-5 straight up and against the spread the last 5 times he's played.
Pelicans Anthony Davis, Teddy, maybe checking out his new digs tonight. Is he going to get that standing ovation from the fans in L.A.? Because when he touches the ball currently right now in New Orleans, he does get booed. But we got some action on the court here. Lakers open up at about a 5-point favorite, sitting around 5.5, depending on where you're shopping at out there. 239.5 as the over-under. Moneyline split plus 180, minus 220. 10:30 p.m. Eastern time from the Staples Center. Seems like, Teddy, when you look at the Lakers now, they get even more publicity when they're losing because you ask LeBron questions. He's questioning his team, who's in, who's out at this point. The one thing that the Lakers are treating people well with are the actual road teams here. 9-11-2 against the spread as a home favorite. If we take a look at New Orleans on the season, as maligned as they are, Teddy, 16-13-1 as a dog this year.
Sure. And of course, the Lakers played a very bad game in New Orleans last week, a game that they were all talking about afterwards. Even when they lost in Memphis the next game, they were still talking about how bad they played in New Orleans the previous game and saying, hey, we're looking forward to seeing this team in a short turnaround revenge rematch. LeBron James' quote after the Grizzlies loss really stood out to me, though. At this point, if you're still allowing distractions to affect the way you play, then this is the wrong franchise to be part of. And you should just come in and be like, listen, I can't do this. Seriously, if you're distracted by playoff pushes out of all the stuff that's been talked about this year, just come and do your job, do our job at a high level. That's not a distraction. That's what you want. That's what you want every game. You want to feel like you're fighting for something. This is the ultimate circle the wagon spot for LA. All right. If they don't win tonight, it's as big a red flag as you can find for the Lakers moving forward. They're supposed to win this game. They're supposed to cover this point spread. Anthony Davis, yeah, his minutes are limited. He's not playing in the fourth quarter at all right now. His quote, I've never been a guy who sat in the fourth quarter, so it's a little tough. But, I'll sit on the bench and cheer for these guys. They do a good job. They did a pretty good job rallying back against Philly the other night. They were 15 points down in the fourth and cut it to 1 with a chance to win at the end. Couldn't hit the game winner. Pelicans aren't laying down. They don't play any defense, but they're not laying down. They have a bunch of scorers on that team. No surprise here if this ends up being a relatively high-scoring affair.
Fortune 500 Villanova stock, Teddy, currently plummeting at this point, but can we see the resurgence tonight? The one thing that if you've been putting your money in the stock market that's called Marquette, You've been cashing tickets 19-9 against the spread on the season, 6-2 on the road, 10-4 against the spread, Teddy, versus the Big East. But Villanova, no slouch, despite the losing over the past couple weeks, still 17-11 against the spread on the season, 8-6 at home, 9-6 against the spread in the Big East. Should be an interesting one. Jay Wright's going to have the boys going at the Pavilion, but can they stop a hot Marquette squad here coming in?
Marquette's really hot. They've got the best player in the conference. They're 3-0 ATS their last 3. They're 14-4 ATS their last 18. They're 18-9 ATS on the season. They've consistently been undervalued. And I'm still nervous about playing them tonight just because of the spot. Obviously, Nova's slide started with that 1-point loss at Marquette, and then they lost to St. John's and Georgetown and Xavier in their last 3, all as favorites, all in games where they took money, and all by double digits against the point spread. The issues of late for Nova, 2 key factors. One, their three-point shooting's gone cold, just 28% during those 4 road losses. That's not going to get it done. And Marquette's pretty good at defending the three-point line. And Nova's interior defense has been soft. They've given up, more than 60% of their 2-point shots in their last 3 games combined. All Marquette's done all year is win games and cover point spreads. I'm not selling them short. I don't want to lay points with the defending champs tonight. They may not be the better of these 2 teams.
On the East Coast, I'll be rooting on the Villanova squad here from afar on TV.